Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting, PDAC meeting, Tanya's notion to order, 6:30. Welcome. Glad to see so many people here. Let's go around the table and state our name and our role as it goes. We'll start with April.
April Webb, Planning Office, Recording Secretary.
Pamela Larson, Area Extension Director.
Andy Bueller, Director of Planning Development.
Keith Gray, PDAC Chair, representing District 19.
Jeff Colonna, I represent District 16.
Sarah Kirby, I represent District 8.
David Lux, represent District 10.
Diane King, Youth and Government.
Sam Sheen, Youth and Governance, District 20.
Right, thank you. We'll dive right into the agenda then. Andy, you want to start us off?
Yeah, will do. So I'm just pulling up the publication. So the agenda is required to be posted as a Class 2 notice, and it was published on the following dates, May 26th and June 2nd. So we comply with publication. Then with that being said, we can then move to the agenda, but for that, I just mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, so just so the board that'll vote on things is best prepared for everything that comes before us. We did have a work session yesterday to review a lot of the materials, so we're in a position to understand when somebody's speaking pro or con against anything to understand how it applies to the issue. So that was yesterday. Eric Meadows isn't here today. I know he was part of it, but we are, I believe, prepared to vote on what we need to vote on.
Right, and then just the other thing to be aware, since there's only 4 of 5 numbers here, it does take a majority of who's present to be able to do this. So it would be 3,
Still 3 votes.
right? So we do have the review and approval. This is a resolution to approve the appointment of Robert W. Mary to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. So this council is one that is set up statutorily, and it has required members. One of them is the county surveyor. Robert Mary is the county surveyor, and so he's being looked at to be reappointed to that. So he's a key component to that council on information that's all prepared on really on everything that you get from like land information and mapping and property inquiry and things like that. So we would recommend that he be reappointed. I think everyone has his bio.
Mhm.
Move to approve.
Excellent. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Supervisor Lux. Is there any discussion on the appointment? Hearing none. Those in favor of. We'll start with Youth and Governments. Youth and Governments, how would you vote on this appointment?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisors, all in favor, indicate aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. So then we can move to item number 3, which is, so 3, 4, and 5 are all related. It's a comprehensive plan, a rezone, and a certified survey map. And I'll cover all of them collectively, but we'll have to vote on them individually. I'll read into the comp plan first, which does require a roll call vote. So for this first item. So it's Robert S. and Angeline K. Markowitz. Did I say that correctly? Yeah, good. 19709 First Street, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182 9424 owner. Chris Bauer, 1818 South Colony Avenue, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182 9695 agent. Requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035. It's map 65 of the comprehensive plan from farmland protection to farmland protection and rural density residential on tax parcel number 454-221-052-0300 located in the town of Paris. And so with that, we'll take a look at the map. We'll cover all of them just so everyone can understand the lay of the land with this property. And in the meantime, we can have the petitioner come to the table here or whoever's going to speak and just be prepared to state your name and address and a little something as to why you're looking to do this. But I'm going to set the stage for this. So right now you can see the property outlined here, which is KR and 45. And then there's this area right here that's where the request is taking place to be the comp plan to be changed, because right now the land is planned in the town and as a county to be farmland. But they're looking at making a change so they can then get a rezone that would allow for a land division of a 5-acre parcel. So with that, you can then see on this document, this map here, where the area would be looked to be rezoned. So all this area would be continue to stay A1 as it is. This area would then be rezoned to R1, where it's a rural residential, minimum of 5 acres, 300 feet of frontage. And then there is a wetland ribbon that's running through that's recognized, and so that is being rezoned as well. That's all based upon a certified survey map of the property. This shows the northern area where all the existing buildings are, and then this next page down here, the first page shows where the lot is being created. One thing to note, and maybe one thing that you can cover for the committee, is there is an easement here for access purposes. Included with this, there is some limitations on access. Here on Highway 45, it's a state highway and they have limited access. And again, we have a waterway running through here and the wetlands. So with that, I'll open up to you so you can say your name and address and just kind of explain a little bit why this is being presented to them.
Perfect, thank you, Andy. Chris Bauer, Bauer Design and Construction, 1818 South Colony Avenue in Union Grove. Personal address is 2038 Norfolk Court in Union Grove as well. Yeah, so we are presenting this to the board right now. We had some discussions with Paris about trying to allocate some land for a new residential home for a family farm that's been in existence since the 1934. And the goal of this whole system is to keep the family farm intact, but to build a new residential home for Bob and Angel. So worked really extensively with Paris to work through about the access, because we're trying to get the 2-to-1 ratio to make sure we fall within the guidelines of what they're looking for and in not exceeding 5 acres. Their only concern is that for currently right now, we can use the existing farm or the existing house residence driveway to access that parcel. What their concern was to make sure that if anything changed in the future, we wanted to make sure that there was access to come, down the property line into the property. So that's why there was that easement that was created to create this lot. Because ultimately the house is going to end up in this picture, probably where lot 2 is pinpointed there. That would be where the new proposed residence would be. We want to keep the barns intact, the family property intact, because of the family members that want to continue to stay on the farm and the parcel, but not, chop out just one small section of the parcel and then lose the family farm access. So the goal of this whole process is to keep the autonomy of the family farm that's been in existence since the 1930s. So we worked, really extensively with Paris. No problems, no challenges on their end, other than working with the fire department, making sure there's access, turnaround. Even though we have that easement, since we're going to use the existing driveway, whatever driveway we create to access the new lot right now, I want to make sure that the fire department has proper turnaround and things of that, and that's all been discussed with them. So this is not to make a huge subdivision or anything like that. It's just more like, let's parcel this out. Let's keep the autonomy of the family farm intact, so that future generations can enjoy it and stays in the family. Is really our intention. So, and Andy was at our first meeting that we were trying to discuss about, making this all happen. Paris was really good at helping us through it. Jeff Backey, and their planning commission was like, how can we resolve this, and collectively together as a team. So kudos to Kenosha County and, the village or town of Paris working together to help my clients achieve their goals and it's been a really good experience, so I just want to make that noted.
Thank you. As for other speakers, pro or con?
Yeah, there will be,
I just lost my screen.
yeah, it's kind of, yes.
We'll start with the committee then. Are there any questions of the petitioner regarding this request? Youth and governance? No? Okay. Is there anybody else in the public for supporting this petition? Or chance, anybody else for this petition like to speak? Okay, anybody against the petition care to speak? So again, anybody opposing this petition care to speak? Hearing none. The town is for, there's nobody here representing Paris, correct?
There is not, but we have information from Paris. So they met on May 26th and a motion was made to approve and it passed.
Okay.
And for this, when it comes time to vote, it will be a roll call.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve.
Right?
I'll move to approve.
Supervisor Kirby, is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Lux. Okay, any further discussion among supervisors regarding the request? Good. All right, roll call vote.
Youth and governance first.
Youth and governance first.
Aye.
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 Motion approved. Thanks very much. So that's the comp plan.
Thank you.
Now
Appreciate it.
we'll go to the two other items. So with the comp plan being approved, this rezone request can be entertained. And I'll just read it in and then we can go through that process again. So this is Robert S. and Angeline K. Markowitz, 19709 First Street, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182, 9424 owner. Chris Bauer, 1818 South Colony Avenue, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182, 9695 agent, requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, R1 Rural Residential, C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy, and PUD Plan Unit Development Overlay on tax parcel number 454-221-0520300 in the town of Paris. And so just so the committee knows on this, so what you saw is something a little different maybe here is this PUD Plan Unit Development Overlay District. So that was an overlay district that the county created a handful of years ago when Paris updated their comprehensive plan. That came up with a scoring system on how lots are being able to be developed. So pretty much based on scoring on a number of different features of a property, it will then determine if the property can be split on one lot per 35 acres or one lot per 10 acres. And then with that whole process gets memorialized through the planned unit development because the remainder of this land outside the 5 acres is going to have a requirement that it cannot be developed in a sense in perpetuity. So I think it's 25 years, but the intent is that it would remain that way as open space, open land as a farm. So it's protected. And the planned unit development is the way how that gets preserved. So with that being said, if you want additional information, you can ask for it. Otherwise, we'd be ready for a motion on the rezone.
I'll entertain the motion on the rezone. A motion to approve. Thank you, Supervisor Colonna. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Supervisor Kirby. Any further discussion regarding this request? Hearing none. Roll call vote again?
No.
Not on this one.
Youth and governance first.
Youth and governance.
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisors, in support of the request, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, so then we can move on to the certified survey map. And by the way, as we already stated, the town of Paris approved all these things on the same date, May 26th. So then the next item is Robert S. and Angeline K. Markowitz, 1979 First Street, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182-9424 owner. Chris Bauer, 1818 South Colony Avenue, Union Grove, Wisconsin, 53182-9695 agent. requesting a certified survey map on tax parcel number 4542210520300 in the town of Paris. We showed the map, and what I was actually trying to pull up here and do up was the conditions. So from a standpoint of planning and development, we would recommend approval of the CSM subject to the conditions, which are right here. It's usually just a number of different things that come into play to make sure that it meets the requirements of the land division ordinance and the requirements of state statutes on how a certified survey map gets put together. Once these items all get completed, turned into us, we verify it. We then get signatures from you as the chair, and then it can get recorded. And so we would ask that in this case that it would be approved, subject to these conditions.
We'll need a motion for this.
Yes.
A motion to approve.
Supervisor Colonna, thanks. Second by Supervisor Lux. Any discussion, further discussion on the request? All right, now roll call.
No.
Youth and governance.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Supervisors in support indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And just so you know, this item will go to the county board. Is it next week?
Yes.
Yes.
Next week.
Tuesday.
You do not need to attend. The chair will present all this to the board for approval. What gets approved will be the comp plan, the rezone, and the CSM. And then again, once the surveyor gets all these things ready, then we can get it ready to be recorded.
So we can be working on that right now.
You can, right? Correct. Yep. And if you have any questions, you are working with,
Give us an answer.
and then also, Luke or.
Oh, yeah, Luke, you know. Luke,
Right, yeah, so just stay in contact with him.
And he's been top notch too, so.
Okay, well, great, appreciate you saying that.
Nothing but kudos for everybody helping us in this process, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Especially
you're
from
all
a
good.
builder's perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so then we have items 6, 7, and 8, which are tabled. We would like to have a motion to remove 6, 7, and 8 from the table.
Motion to remove 6, 7, and 8.
I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion about removing 6, 7, and 8 from the agenda? Some governance, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisors, are you support by saying aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? All right, we remove that from the agenda.
Okay, so this is another one where we have 3 items, same thing as the last one, and this one, we actually heard and went through some of this last month. And we'll go through this formally. So the first item is the comprehensive plan. All 3 of these items have been removed from this table, so we can all move on down. So this is a request of Matthew A. Happ, 31807 60th Street, Salem, Wisconsin, 531689557, owner. Brenda Haefman, P.O. Box 54, Wilmot, Wisconsin, 53192, agent requesting an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County, 2035 map 65, the comprehensive plan from farmland protection. It's an isolated natural resource area, what INRA stands for, and non-farm wetland to farmland protection, suburban density residential and non-farmland wetland on tax parcel number 9541190110301 in the town of Wheatland. So again, I'll explain all these items together and then we'll vote on them separately. The first one will require a roll call vote. We'll ask for the petitioner to kind of state a few things regarding this. So right now you can see the property is highlighted here on Highway K along the Canadian Railroad, and you can see where it started up east of Highway W in Wheatland. And that's the comprehensive plan change request, but then it's followed up by a rezone where you can see that there's a existing farm here where they're looking to rezone then this section that corresponds to the comprehensive plan. And that is all related to the certified survey map, which we'll get into more details when we get to it, but I'll show it to you here. And so this is amended from last month. And again, we'll get to it when we get to it. But right now, I just wanted to show you how it all relates together. So we do have the petitioners, either one, you can pick whoever, just state your name and address, kind of run through a little bit of those details, and then I'll kind of get into the full details of the CSM when we get there.
My name is Brenda Haefman.
Street address 30604 113th Street, Wilmot, mailing PO Box 54 in Wilmot. We are looking to, my husband and I are looking to build a home on lot 3. Our daughter and son-in-law own the property. We're looking to add lot 2 as potential future in case one of the grandkids decides they like us enough to stay. Then they would be able to build in the future as well, but distant because they're young. So that's the overall scheme.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Need a motion to,
Be fine if anyone has any questions.
we go right to that. Supervisors' questions. Supervisors, do you have questions of the petition regarding the request? I don't know if this is for them or, can you go back a map? The one that had, it was red and that, what is that A1 to C1 in that little corner there? Upper right corner of the red section.
Yeah.
What is that?
So that's an area that was determined, or it has been a wetland, and so we're basically, it was not zoned as such, kind of just like on the last one.
Yeah.
There was a area where it wasn't recognized, but the DNR updates their mapping every 5 years, and then whenever that shows up on the map, then we get it zoned to reflect the wetland that exists from its zoning.
Okay,
So it then becomes protected as a wetland
okay,
from zoning purposes.
okay.
Yeah.
Non-buildable, that type of thing.
Definitely not.
It's wet, you don't want to go there.
And
Okay, I just didn't know what that C1 was, so. All right, so. Let's see. Is there any other, anyone else from the public in support of the petition that would like to speak? Anyone else that would be in support of the petition? Hearing none, is there anyone against the petition that would like to speak? One more chance, anyone against the petition who would like to speak? All right. Hearing none, the town is on board.
They are, and so that this was heard at the town on April 27th. The motion was made to approve and it passed.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion to pass. Move to approve. Move to approve. Thank you. Is there a second? Supervisor Lux, is this, you said this first one's roll call?
Correct.
Okay. Youth and Governance?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, great. 3-0. Supervisor Lux? Aye. Supervisor Kirby?
Aye.
Supervisor Colonna?
Aye.
Aye for myself. Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. And then we have the item for the rezone. Again, we'll walk through the same procedures. So this is the request of Nancy Knapp, 31807 60th Street, Salem, Wisconsin, 531689557. Owner Brenda Haveman, PO Box 54, Wilmot, Wisconsin, 53192. Agent requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation, C2 Upland Reserve Conservancy, A1 Agricultural Preservation, R2 Suburban Single Family Residential, C2 Upland Resource Conservancy, and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy. I'm part of tax parcel number 954-119-011-0301 in the town of Wheatland. And so the same things apply. The map for that one is this. That's this showing this area to be rezoned to this R2, which allows for parcels of 40,000 square feet to 5 acres with 150 feet of frontage, of which they comply with.
Okay. And you go right down the list, right? Is there any more explanation that you'd like to add to the request?
I mean, I can talk forever, but.
Let me ask it differently. Is there things we need to hear?
Oh, no. I think everything is pretty straight.
Okay. Committee, any questions of the petitioner regarding the request? Public chance, again, is there anyone from the public in support of the petition? Second time, anybody from the public would like to speak in support? Hearing none, is there anybody against the petition who would like to speak? One more time, anybody who would like to speak against the petition? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Youth and, this is not a roll call vote. Youth and governance, how would you vote?
Aye.
Supervisors indicate support by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Then we can move on to the next item, which is Cathay Half, 31807 60th Street, Salem, Wisconsin, 531-688-9557 owner. Brenda Hickman, P O Box 54, Walnut, Wisconsin, 53192 agent, requesting a certified story map on tax parcel 954-119-011-0301 in the town of Wheatland. So this one I'll give a little bit more explanation on. So as we recall at the last meeting, we didn't move forward with any of these items because there were some questions in regards to the access and how it relates to the lot. We had a meeting a week ago and all those items were worked out. And so what ended up happening is that the access was originally going to be kind of, I think it was still about here, but it was going to be over lot 1. And so an easement was need to go across these. There was questions as does that need to be where the access has to be or not, can be moved or not. And that's a decision under highways, but we had a meeting with highways, with fire, with the petitioners, surveyor, county, staff and planning, and we discussed this all out. And so what ended up happening is this lot line here ended up being moved to this location. And so that the access, which is the only access location that could be utilized unless it moved west to line up with another driveway to the north, is that was the requirement, is to line up this property on the other side has 2 driveways. And so the access will be lined up with the easternmost one. In doing this lot line, it was then going to come down and interfere with some of the paddocks. And so that was causing some problems. So what we determined was that a little bit of a compromise is to try to get this west lot line to go as far south as possible to create the rectangulariness of the property, and then to shoot over to avoid a bunch of the paddocks as possible. This little corner here was going to be inconsequential as opposed to some, if it was going to be this whole area. Everyone was good with that. We did get information from the fire chief on the easement needing to be wider, so the fire trucks could get in and turn. There's some turnouts, which I can, I think, is that on that other diagram?
Yeah, it was on the
Yeah.
other.
The color.
You guys saw that yesterday on the site plan. And so those were turnouts to allow the fire truck to turn around. And so they were happy with that. We have the easement agreement. We also, which is right here. So we have the driveway easement agreement. So I think you can cover anything if we needed to, if there was anything that I missed out, but that's kind of the gist of it. And anything that would occur would be based upon, actually, the rezone and the CSM is going to be based upon the new lot line, because that moved a little bit. And the conditions for, like we talked about, this cleaning up the CSM so it's in recordable form and meets all the requirements, so it'd be based upon conditions. So anything else that you'd like to add at this point?
Well, okay, if I add something, I better start at the beginning. My first name is Michael. My last name is Martin, Martin. Cardinal Engineering, Lake Geneva, 526 South Wells Street, Lake Geneva, 53147. I'm the surveyor of record, creating this map. And just so everyone knows what we're doing, we've had great guidance from our friends here at the county, and in designing that easement for access for not only lot 3, but to get to the future lot 2. We had to take into consideration some extreme topographical issues in terms of slope. So we increased its width to about 50 feet. And we're placing that in its position that we can meet all the requirements set forth by highways and by the fire department for turnaround. All that will be left is we would then piggyback. Once the CSM is recorded, we would then record right behind it the easement agreement, because that would be referencing the recorded CSM, one behind the other type of situation. And then they should be in good standing with everyone. And I thank everyone for their help.
Yeah, so with that, we do have the CSM conditions here. So these conditions were based upon the original. There are maybe some other little things that we might have to do, but we're just going to state that it'll be subject to conditions that the surveyor is aware of.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Public gets an opportunity to speak in support of. Second chance, public has an opportunity to speak in support of the petition. Hearing none, is there anybody from the public who would speak in opposition against the petition? Second chance, opposition against the petition. Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve. Move to approve. That's not getting good at this, aren't they?
And just subject to conditions
Subject to the conditions.
for the CSS.
Said in the CSM.
I second.
Excellent. Youth and governance, how do you vote?
Aye.
Supervisors in support indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Hearing none, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. So you probably heard what I said with the other ones. So your items do go to county board next week. You do not need to appear. The chair will present everything. Again, we can't record it until you get everything in order. After the county board approves, the county exec signs, and then it's usually just waiting to be able to get it recorded. Once it's recorded, then, you know, the lot exists, and then you can move ahead with getting.
And then I can buy it. What?
Yeah, so
Be
very good.
careful what you wish for.
There you go.
I know, he's the one who has to be careful. He's got his mother-in-law next to him.
That's where fences come in.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them.
So now.
Mhm.
So.
They will be.
They will be.
Yep.
Thank
you. That,
Congratulations.
that will drive, that's those little modifications that we send that to landing. Got it. Okay. All right, with that, so items. So we have.
Number
Gotta
nine.
back up. Yep, right here. So items 9 and 10 will remain tabled for those to be completed. We're not able to move ahead as we were expected just because of the fee schedule that was approved last month. It's just been taking a long time to get it in working order. This is not time sensitive, so it's okay. We'll get to it when we get to it. So these items will remain tabled. And then with that, we do have this resolution, which I'll read into the record. This is a resolution supporting temporary moratorium on the consideration and or issuance of building permits, conditional use permits, and zoning approvals for battery energy storage systems, pending enactment of an amendment zoning ordinance to address these systems and protect the public health, safety, and welfare of Kenosha County residents. We're asking for this to be withdrawn. The resolution. So we need a motion to withdraw it and to second and then vote on it.
Move to withdraw.
Second, okay. Any discussion about withdrawing the resolution?
Did you get the second?
Okay. Youth and governance?
Aye.
Okay. Supervisors, support by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Great. Then we can move on to the supporting ordinance. It's basically the same thing. We were advised that in this type of situation, when you do a moratorium, you need a resolution and you need an ordinance. I can't explain why that wasn't being able to be acted upon a county board when you did the resolution, but the typical process is that it gets referred to the local committee, which it is, then we would act on it here and we'll go back. So this is the ordinance. The ordinance is supporting temporary moratorium on the consideration and or issuance of building permits, conditional use permits, and zoning approvals for battery energy storage systems, pending review and enhancement of existing zoning ordinances to address these systems and protect the public health, safety, and welfare of Kenosha County residents. This is a ordinance for a moratorium of up for 12 months, and it'll be effective from the date that county board approves it for then 12 months.
Okay. So, and I'm unsure of the order of things here. Is public comment the next step on this?
Correct.
Okay.
We did it.
So we'll ask for anybody from the public in support of this petition or support of this ordinance.
Correct. Yeah, and I guess for some of those that have comments regarding this, so this would be in regards to the moratorium. And if there's comments that you have not related to the moratorium, that would be during citizens' comments. So right now, if you do have something like related to the moratorium, you're either for it or against it, and you want to speak either way, that's where we'll be taking that information right now.
We'll do it in public comments.
Okay,
Like, we would both like to say something on behalf of Wheatland, so.
Okay,
sure.
yeah, so this.
I'll ask a second time, yeah, is give you another chance, right? Anybody wishing to speak in support of the moratorium as presented? Okay, anybody who would like to speak in opposition of the moratorium? No, I'll give a second chance. Anybody who is opposed to the moratorium that would like to speak? Okay. Supervisors, any comments or questions regarding what's been written? I'll make a comment. I read through it twice. There's a lot of work ahead of this committee. I mean, and you and I are gonna have to talk about that. It's gonna take some time. There are a lot of steps here in this moratorium that gives this committee and the a lot of research and to come back to the full board with their thoughts and ideas and plans. So, you know, I know what it's ahead of us and we're committed to doing that. And I actually look forward to doing it. It's something I'm very interested in. It's a reality of our county right now. So, I guess we'll put to a vote, accept this, approve this ordinance as presented. I'm looking for a motion to approve this ordinance as presented tonight.
Move to approve.
Okay, I second. Supervisor Kirby, motion, Supervisor Colonna, second. Youth and governance, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. All supervisors in support of indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Hearing none, this passes.
Yes, all right, thank you very much, the county board. Then with that, we move on to the extension portion. I will unplug and pass it over
Oh,
to
you want me to
Pam.
go into that one, all right. I thought, well, can I just share? Oh, because they need to see it. Oh.
Yeah. I disagree. That's not today. It doesn't.
I need to. Yes. Just like that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. It's like, fighting us with a certain.
There's a lot.
Yeah, it's on these guys.
Oh, here it is.
No, I'm gonna do it at the end. I'd rather do it as a complimentary item versus.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the second.
That stop sharing.
I don't know why it's on my screen. I can't see it. Why is it seeing that? You did it? Will you take the one? We'll have Savannah. Oh,
the dog hair.
Even with the late ones.
So that's. Yeah. They don't have
Yeah.
So that'll be size.
Yeah. That I heard.
But
Yeah, I think.
it was. Right.
Well, here, I'll have you plug in here though, because we should just display.
Yeah, I sent to read it in the meeting. I have found it.
Sorry about the technical difficulty. Maybe next time, sure. Meeting as well.
What went to sleep, just said it was going to sleep.
It makes me feel like it's something that I should look at.
Remember the meeting. It should explain that. Yeah.
There we go. You're still, some. Oh, I'll stop.
You know, we'd be round as there's some go.
Yeah. It's like, can I be quick to us?
Everything was on his version. Halfway, and then I come another the next 20 minutes. So it breaks.
It's with my side out of practice.
So for me, there's.
Oh, right.
I knew I'd think there's.
Right.
Don't give me that. Not that good.
Well, thank you all for giving us the opportunity to present tonight. We like doing at least once a year, not twice a year, coming in and sharing some program highlights and then also our plan of work. So in March, we shared with the then PDIC committee members our highlights for 2025. And for you, since our year runs July 1st through the 30th. So what you are seeing is our 2026 plan of works, but they really are working at starting 26 or 27. Now, educators are working on their new plan of works, which they will begin July 1. So this gives you an opportunity to see what they will be focusing on. It's not going to work when I hit enter. I got that. There we go. This way instead. So let's start with the mission. I know when you were going through new supervisor orientation, I shared this with you. We also have it in our annual report, which I will share with you after we give our presentation. But Extension's mission is to bring the research and resources of the university out into the community where people live, work, and play. And so it's a unique collaboration that we have with counties as we spread the Wisconsin idea throughout the state. It is a collaboration that has been going for over 100 years. It's a triangular relationship between Kenosha County, the UW system, and the USDA. And we are an educational resource for the county and all the municipalities within the county as well, divisions, departments, organizations throughout the county. And you graciously pay a portion of our educators' salary and fringe. You provide office space and technology for us, which we greatly appreciate. And in return, Extension pays the remainder of the salary and fringes as well as we have specialists that you can access. For instance, when we had Daniel Folk come in and do the new supervisor orientation, access to research and any sort of statewide network resources. Sharing with you some of our highlights. These will also be in the annual report that I'll share with you after we give our presentation. We're definitely like sharing our numbers with you, but we also like to stress that we are more than our numbers, and that we have a strong impact in the community as well. We do conduct evaluations of our programs, and so that's where we get some of our anecdotal or qualitative research as people share their testimonies with us and the positive impact that programs have had and their families in some cases. So you'll see some of our data focuses on our home office. That means we are sometimes involved in educating people outside the county through virtual programming. And sometimes even in-person programming, like I'll use Anne as an example, who may be doing some sort of field-based presentation or workshop, and so that there will be many counties represented. So that's the home office, and then we also do our geography specific, which means Kenosha County only education. And so some of our numbers are here, and as well as, like I said, you'll see them in the annual report, but I share that with you. And I am sharing with you the annual report first, and then I'll go to the other supervisors. I always like to start with our committee that we are most closely associated and aligned with. So let's have a start with Savannah and community development, community economic development, and your plan of work, Savannah.
Yes, hi everybody. I am Savannah Myers. I'm our community development educator. I focus a lot in economic development, but really go along all of it as well. So I get to do a lot of really, really awesome stuff here in our community. And these are just kind of 4 areas that I've been focusing on this past few years and plan to focus on more again this year. Some of this really pertains to some of the work I started with this past year, is kind of flowing in. So with housing, we do have the Kenosha County Housing Task Force, which is a combination of work from UW Extension, the county, and CAVA. We're doing a lot of really great stuff. We started at the very end of 2024, did a bunch of planning into 2025, and now 2026, we're going really strong. Me with some of my extension colleagues did do a regional housing summit, which I do know some of our board supervisors got to attend. It was lovely to see you all there, but that was a really, really great event where about 140 attendees from 10 different counties came and learned about housing through a bunch of different keynote speakers, breakout sessions, municipal developer mixer. So with that, we're really hoping to use that as a launch pad to get a lot more housing stuff done this upcoming year. We also are very, very fortunate that our county did help us pay for a housing study. So we are looking to hopefully get that data soon. So another big part of what I plan to do this next year is work with some of that data to see how we can utilize it to get more housing for all in Kenosha County. And then some other things too that we're looking into doing more of. The Kenosha County Housing Task Force last year also partnered with the Center for Land Use Education, or CLUE, that's out from Stevens Point, to do a regional planning and zoning workshop with our elected officials. It was a really great event to kind of better understand what goes into those processes. So we do hope to bring that back again this year. And then also just educating our overall public on housing through data, presentations, different tools. Another thing that we're currently working on, should be out at some point this summer, is a housing terms and types kind of glossary. So kind of looking to see what is affordable housing, what's workforce housing, how do we define it here in Kenosha County? So anytime we do anything, we can say, this is what we mean by that definition. And then just those different housing types, like what is an accessory dwelling unit? What is a cottage court? Things along those lines. We are hoping that once we get this housing study done, we're waiting to put that out because we don't want it to contradict, we want it to complement. So when people are getting that housing study data, they're able to look at this and then better understand what that data means, so it makes a more meaningful impact. And then one other thing I really plan on doing in housing is, now that we kind of had that state level or more regional level, we're also looking to continue on that education for that regional and state level. So we're looking to doing more webinars, and because I was one of the leads on that housing summit, I'm hoping to take that knowledge that I learned and help my other educators across the state as well, and hopefully serve as a mentor in that. So another big thing we do is obviously workforce. We're always trying to bring more people into Kenosha County. And one part of the workforce that doesn't always get the love that I always think it deserves, just because I am part of this workforce, but it's our young professionals in the community. So I also work with FLIC, which is Future Leaders in Kenosha, which is part of the Chamber of Commerce. And we are working just to bring different networking opportunities to our younger professionals in the community. So we do professional development opportunities, just some networking. So our next one is on June 30th. It will be at the Kenosha West of the Eye office, completely free to anybody who would like to attend. It is targeted towards 40 and under. However, anybody who would like to attend is more than welcome to. It will be 6 power moves to elevate your career. So really great way to just go and listen to somebody talk about that and then networking after. So we try to do something at least once a month, just so people feel like they have a place within Kenosha County and want to move here and feel like they're able to have those opportunities. Another one that we really try to work on is entrepreneurship. So you all will be getting this after too. We worked when I first started to create a business lifecycle resource page. So from starting a business to growing to maintaining to business succession planning. We did a needs assessment and realized that a lot of people don't have the resources they need to start the businesses they want to in Kenosha County, even though they do exist. So we created this website by working with all of those different entities that have a hand in entrepreneurship. And we said, how can we better serve our community for this? So we created this page. All these are low cost or free resources, completely free to use, trying to get it into as many hands as we can, just so anybody who comes into contact with an entrepreneur can utilize this. And then finally, one other place that I really love working in is community placemaking and vitality. So hoping to continue this on this past year, so this 2025 year, I did get to work with Visit Kenosha, and we did a downtown survey to talk about the appeal to college students to see how we could get more of our college students participating with downtown. They're already starting to utilize that data. So just looking into other ways we can continue on that data, see what else we can do. And then also go into just different conferences and seeing how we can make Kenosha County a better place for people to come, live, play, and work. So that is me. Thank you so much.
Do you have questions about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Heard there is massive grants for upskilling, helping individuals learn AI skills. Are we participating in any of those grants?
Yeah, that is a great question. I have just started doing some of that AI stuff through UW Extension. So they actually put us through an AI Expand program so we could better utilize it. And we did just have some AI opportunities for people who are elected officials to be able to go out there. However, I have not looked into seeing how we could teach other people within the community. So I would love to follow up on that and continue to look on later on.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Alana Perez Valier. I am a human development and relationships educator, and my primary focus is financial security education. And so some of the my 5 main priorities for this year are landlord and tenant education. So looking at housing stability. So I offer a few different programs under the title of Rent Smart. So we focus on Rent Smart for renters. We're launching this fall Rent Smart for landlords. That'll be starting in September. Our first in-person one will be offered in Oshkosh, and then eventually we will be able to offer that in person here in Kenosha County. We also offer Rent Smart Trainer. So this is for folks that are in the helping professions. So our community case managers, social workers that also work with clients to help them with the skills of having those conversations with them. And then my second priority is planning ahead. And that is I should mention the Rent Smart is a 6 session series. It's a lot of S's on there. And then the second priority is planning ahead. And planning ahead is end of life planning. And this is focused on for all adults, anyone 18 or older. It's really important information to know. And so there's 7 sessions with planning ahead. This helps people organize their financial records, complete legal and medical directives, look at wills, probates, things of those matters. And it really helps people have those conversations with their loved ones, and it helps reduce stress and some of the costs that are impacted with those. My second priority is a combination. So the focus is strengthening personal finance. So we do that through 3 different avenues. I provide one-time workshops where we focus on creating spending plans, learning about credit reports and credit scores, frauds and scam prevention, different types of financial literacy. We also have We also offer a program called Money Matters that is offered live. And then we also offer it online. So you can do it self-guided. We actually have 13 different modules. I believe 7 are also in Spanish. And then the third piece of that personal financial management is our one-on-one coaching. So I'm also a financial coach. And this is for anyone in the community that wants to work on financial goals, if they're learning if they see unforeseen changes in their income, or they just have whatever financial goals, if they're looking at planning for post-secondary education and want to learn more about those student loans or financial aid, or what they want to do when they're looking at how to pay that back, or if they're looking at retirement. So it's really anything financial there to coach someone through their goals. And then let's see, that was 4. That was 3. And then my 4th priority is preparing our youth. So I am launching a pilot project with my institute, and it's called Life Skills Launchpad. And so this is focused on youth, highly vulnerable youth that are aging out of transitional living facilities like foster care or any kind of out of home placement. It's an 8-session series that looks at different types of financial literacy to prepare them for adulthood so they have successful lives walking into the future. We cover budgeting, credit and loans. We look at choosing financial institutions, preparing for post-secondary education, and whether that's college or apprenticeship trainings, preparing them for job resumes, and what that looks like, preparing that when they're thinking about what they want to do for their careers. So I'm really excited. We're about a third of the way through with our pilot here in Kenosha, and we're looking at launching that to train other facilitators throughout the state, starting in August. And then my 5th priority is empowering the helpers in our communities. So I train local human service professionals with 2 different programs. One is called Encouraging Financial Conversations. This is a 6-session series, and they also are able to earn free continuing education credits with this. And then the second is Foundations and Financial Coaching. And this again helps the helpers in our community, social workers, case managers, to have financial conversations with their clients. So through the work that I do, that we can spread the wealth and empower more of our helpers in the community to create that systemic change for our community.
Got a question
Yeah.
for this pilot that you're doing. Can you give us a little bit of maybe a few highlights from that program? Because that sounds like you're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so there's 4 educators throughout the state. So I'm the 2nd educator to pilot it. I'm working with the Kenosha Human Development Services. And so we meet in the evening, and we're working with a core group of about 12 young adults. Well, they're between 16 and 23. So some are in school, some are out of school. And so we meet weekly. We have an icebreaker. We go through a case study. And then so we have a group discussions, and then we incorporate technology, looking at different resources. And it really counts that we have feedback from them to see how the classes are going, what they like, what they don't like. And so I work to pivot and then take notes. And so there's a lot of evaluation data. So like one of our classes we just had was choosing financial institutions. So looking at a case study of someone that wants to protect something that's of value, right? But where would you put it if you couldn't touch it for, you want to protect it for 2 months? And so we have some questions. We work in small groups. We come back as a larger group and share those discussions. And we had some really great discussions about, well, what if I don't trust a bank, or if I, what can help? What can you tell me that will help me feel better? And so I wanted to answer it right away, but I gave it back to the group, and it was great because someone came back, well, I know that going to a bank is safe. Like I don't have to worry about leaving money in my dresser drawer. And so that led to the discussion of what is FDIC and what is NCUA. And so then we talked a little bit about the Depression and how that changed things in financial institutions. And that was a really great opportunity. And then the Kenosha Human Development Services also have a budget so they could provide a meal afterwards. So it was a really welcoming experience, and so far it's really well received. So
Thank you.
Yeah. And Ms. Bates.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ann Cohenstraat. I am the Diversified Vegetable and Emerging Crops Educator for Kenosha County. And I am a part of the Agriculture Institute. We have several institutes within Extension, and both BJ and I are part of the Agriculture Institute. And we have a regional model so that we can specialize more so in our areas. And then we also have colleagues across the state. So if we have questions that come in on grazing, which isn't, my forte, but we have people in the county next over that can help, things like that. And I'll share with you this information here on our institute, the Agriculture Institute. So my role in Kenosha County is I work with direct market fruit and vegetable growers. So those that are selling in farmers markets, farm stands, CSAs, things like that. And so they're usually small to mid-scale growers, usually less than 50 acres. The emerging crops part of my role is we have a team across the state where we are trialing and making recommendations on diversifying cropping systems to include perennial crops, some, crops that are kind of up and coming that you wouldn't have normally considered as crops before, like winter camelina, malting barley. We have hazelnuts as part of our crew, a lot of small berries, things that sometimes can be more stable, both financially and environmentally in our systems. And so my plan of work for this next year, I divided it up into 3 different sections. Outreach, going to focus a lot on soil health and cover cropping and nutrient management. We have a lot of resources that need to be developed for their small and mid-scale growers. We have a lot of resources and extension for large-scale farmers and row croppers and processing vegetable farmers. And then we have a lot for the backyard gardeners. And so this scale of growers that I work with, we don't have a lot of resources for yet. So we're working a lot on that this year with our team through webinars, some specific ones. We did one this last year on irrigation in vegetable cropping systems. We did one on emerging small berry crops, both highly attended. And then we also have a podcast with our emerging crops program that we're focusing on this year. We have a kind of follow the farmer, and it's a hops grower in Wisconsin here. So we're basically interviewing him for about half an hour each month just to see what's going on, what he's doing, what it takes to grow hops in Wisconsin, and what you do with it. And then we have more longer. We have more extensive podcasts that last a little bit longer. The one we did most recently was on saffron, which is super interesting. I didn't know anything about saffron beforehand, but about 5 years ago, we did 5 podcasts on saffron growing in Wisconsin, and there's several growers here. So always, working on getting information out to our community members. And so through that as well is our resource development and education. For about over 20 years, UW had a program called the Wisconsin School for Beginning Market Growers, and it was an in-person 3-day intensive class, and it was in the winter time, and it was basically from figuring out your farm plan and how you're going to market all the way through for these smaller scale growers. And then COVID hit and it kind of fizzled out. And so we are reimagining it as an online course so that people can take it across the state and they don't have to travel to Madison for that. So we're in the beginning stages of working on that and developing that curriculum. We're also, one of the challenges that we have seen with some of our vegetable growers is the need for pocket ID guides on pests and disease in vegetable systems, as well as just general production guides. We have some from UW, but they're, in dire need of updating. Some of them are from the late 90s. And so a few things have changed. So we are in the process of updating and reviewing a lot of our resources that we have available right now. And then as far as research goes, I have a honeyberry trial going on in, it's actually just right across the border in Racine County, but we can claim it here too. But honeyberries are, we have it here, BJ's got them out in his small berry trial, if you don't know what they are. We're doing a variety trial of a bunch of different varieties just to see what could grow here. The beauty about honeyberries is that their roots will withstand 50 degrees below zero. Their flowers will withstand 20 degrees. They flower really early in the year and they fruit, and you harvest them in June.
Hopefully non-invasive.
As far as we know, no, they're not like the other honeysuckles. They're in the same family as a honeysuckle. But BJ might talk about it.
Please, no.
Yeah, no.
It's like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for food to put in my yard.
Oh, yeah, and they're great. The birds love them though. That's the thing. Is so on some of our trials, we've had the cedar waxwings love them especially.
Where are they native to?
They're native to Russia and Japan is where we're getting a lot of our breeding stock from. But University of Saskatchewan has a big breeding program, and so does Oregon State University. And so we've gotten a lot of their varieties that have come out of there. So we're trying different ones to see which is going to be best for certain areas in the state. We have a trial here. We just planted one up in Sturgeon Bay. We have one in Madison and Spooner as well, just to see which varieties do better in each parts of the state so we can make good recommendations. Agrivoltaics, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Just starting to talk about that, chatting with Andy a little bit and how we can promote this dual use of the landscape. UW doesn't have a whole lot of research going on right now. We're just starting. So southeast of Madison at the Kegonsa site, there is some trials going on that we're working in partnership with the Savannah Institute out of Spring Green to plant some, I think there's currants and elderberries in there right now. But I'm interested in seeing if we can grow some vegetable crops in there as well. And so we're moving forward and looking a little bit more into that and how we can work that into some of the systems here in Kenosha County. And then I'm always on the lookout for funding opportunities to help us do some of our fun projects that are going to help our community members.
Could you define what an agrivoltaic dual use system is?
Sure, it's areas where we have solar arrays and also still continue to utilize the landscape in an agricultural sense. Or, make sure there's pollinator habitats, but it's not just bare ground or concrete underneath there.
Great, thank you.
Speaking, or staying with the Ag Institute, we'll now have BJ present.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vijay Pandian. I'm a horticulture extension educator serving both Kenosha and Racine counties. My target audiences are homeowners, and including master gardener volunteers, any community gardeners, and commercial horticulture folks, including commercial landscapers, lawn service providers. Urban foresters, one of my biggest audience as well too. And my role primarily involves in doing research trial programs in the southeast part of Wisconsin. I have a 25% research appointment, and my research program focuses primarily on some applied research that is pertinent to the local needs. And then 60% I focus on outreach and teaching, and the remaining 15% I do professional services for a nonprofit organization as well too. So as part of my research trial, last year I got funding from the Wisconsin Arborist Association to do a study in the state about mitigating the heat stress. So in urban areas, we have a lot of radiating surfaces from concrete buildings, parking lots, and all those things. How to be able to generate a mini forest that can grow and mature within 20 years rather than waiting 50 to 100 years, and can able to, fast enough, in trying to mitigate the heat stress, attract some of the wildlife, and benefit the community at the same time. So this study is actually based out of a Japanese botanist. His name is Akira Miyawaki, back in 1960s and 70s. He did his graduate program in Oxford in England, then he moved to Japan, and he came up with this concept in Japan using the native species, growing in a high-density planting system. And that concept was quickly spread out in Asia as well as in Europe. In North America, only in a very few states have been doing the research study, and we have yet not know actually about what species are more adaptable in this type of planting system. So this year, just last month, we conducted this study. We have 3 replications. You won't believe, in a 20 feet by 20 feet, we have planted about 98 tree species in a high density star. And it's a 4-year study. And we're going to explore what species thrive in this high density planting star, how fast they grow every year, what is the mortality rate? Not all species going to be successful. What is the mortality rate is going to be? And we're also going to study about what is the soil, how the soil composition is going to change in this high density planting star. So we are hoping to have a peer-reviewed journal publication done based on this research trial study. So I'm excited about it, and so we'll see. And the next part of my study is about a sweet potato variety trial study. I started the study last year, but ended up in failure due to a lot of environmental factors, let me put it this way. So I'm kicking back again on this trial study again. So I don't know, not many people know about sweet potatoes are very easy to grow. It is rich in antioxidants, and it just has a direct health benefits. And it's as easy to grow just like garlic, but not many people don't know about it, how to use it, and what variety is the best for Wisconsin, especially in raised beds or in community gardens. So we are exploring about more than a dozen different varieties from southern United part of states, as well as from Japan, as well as from Korea. So we are exploring a lot of different varieties. And each of those varieties has its own unique taste and size differences and all those things. So we're going to restart this trial study again to explore more about the sweet potatoes. And also in partnership with the UW-Madison, with our turfgrass specialist, Dr. Doug Soldat, we are doing a trial study about, lawn bee species. So this is a very popular one nowadays, actually, having a monoculture of turfgrass. Why can't we integrate some flowering, perennials into a lawn that attracts pollinators as well? Easy to say, but it's not that easy. One, because our minds are fine-tuned to mow a lawn constantly at 3 inches to 3.5 inches all the time, and we don't know much about other type of flowering pollinators that can be introduced into a lawn besides clover. So we are exploring different types of species that can actually be supplemental besides clover. So we have been doing this trial study, and this is our 2nd year. We've been collecting the data. And then as part of my outreach and teaching, I don't know if you guys know, right up here at Kenosha County Centers, we have an arboretum, and this arboretum has about more than 250 trees actually. And so as part of this arboretum, we do kind of like an outreach event. So we had recently an Arbor Day event celebrating about promoting fruit crops. So we planted about 22 different varieties of fruit species in our arboretum this year. And this includes from peaches, nectarines, pecans, pluots. I don't know how many of you guys know pluots. It's a hybrid of apricot as well as plum. And so we have all this novelty type of fruit species besides our traditional Wisconsinite apples as well too. So we tend to promote some of these unique fruit crops in our area through our KCC Arboretum. And last 3 years, we've been doing a trial study on growing blueberries in raised beds as well as in trench. So the trial study has been very successful. Now, for the first time, as part of an outreach to promote blueberries in our area, yes, we can grow blueberries in southeast part of Wisconsin. We are hosting a Blueberry Fest on July 25th. And the whole goal is to promote actually the antioxidant properties of fruits, and as well as to grow other fruit crops which are rich in antioxidants. So blueberries is one of like a trap to attract people. But we are also selling some of the blueberry plants at a very reasonable price through the festival as well too. And also in partnership with the Kenosha Public Library, we are hosting a program called Gardening for Beginners. Last year, we hosted this program. We had it's a 10 series program. Every month we hosted it. We got an average about 25 people signed up for all the sessions. And so we are planning to do this program again in 2026 as well too. Finally, as part of my professional service, I serve as an educational advisor for the statewide Wisconsin Arborist Association. So I'm kind of like a liaison between the extension and as well as with the Wisconsin Arborist Association, helping in their coordinating their education programs as well as other type of services with the Wisconsin Arborist Association.
BJ, I have two questions, if you don't mind. I hope this is okay. Thank you. First question is, what was your greatest learning from the failure of your sweet potato?
Oh, that's a lot, actually. So one of the greatest one was that, I underestimated the power of the tree roots. So we have a bunch of honey locust trees, actually, and we put up a landscape fabric, we put up a raised beds on top of it, and we thought probably, it's safe. But within a matter of 1 or 2 seasons, the whole bed was flooded with the roots of honey locust trees. And so we underestimated the power and the vigor of the honey locust tree rates. Actually, that screwed up my whole research trial. The entire 1 year went down actually. So so I have to shift my trial study to Racine County because of this. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Because I think I love to see failures. When you see the failure, would you learn from it? And it sounds like capitalize on that. Second question is with the species that you're looking at in the lawns, natives or not natives? This is gonna be something that I'm gonna talk about till I'm blue in the face. Keith and I have dealt with.
Time limit on it.
Real quick, Keith and I have spent nearly a lifetime battling invasives that have been brought by amazing people to solve various problems, and we just don't want to see any more invasives that are going to wreak havoc with.
Yeah, so in our bee lawn species trial, so the one we are exploring are the micro clovers. It's a selected variety from a Dutch white clover. And so it doesn't have a very broad leaf like a Dutch white clover. Then we are also exploring about self-heal, which is a prunella species, which actually grows like a prostrate form. University of Minnesota conducted a similar trial study with the self-heal plant. And for us in Wisconsin, it's a failure. Last year we tried it. It did not germinate at all, actually. So it did not work in Wisconsin. So I can't, this is just based on preliminary analysis. Only by next year I can know for sure. The third species which we are exploring, which is very promising, is called yak yarrow. Yarrow is we see as a perennial one, which has a beautiful flower head right now in a yellow, red, and even in white. This yak yarrow is a very dwarf one. And so, which is very promising because at the 4-inch height, it starts to bloom and attract some, pollinators as well too. So we are exploring that species as well in our intermittent taproot. We don't know yet. Okay. We haven't dug yet. So, and because we are, but the vigor of the yak yarrows and the microclover is like even at a 10% of seed rate, it seems to be quickly spreading as well too. So again, but some of the other species like fine fescues, seems to be able to tolerate both clovers as well as the yak yarrows. So these are some of the few species that we have been exploring in our trial study.
Thank you.
I was just gonna comment that I have heel all growing in my yard, so I'm working on, it takes a long time to establish and I have to water frequently, but once it's there, it sticks around.
Yeah, it's good to know. Thank you.
It just takes a little bit to get started.
We also tried creeping thyme. It did not germinate as well too. So it's into.
Thank you. Now we will shift to Carolyn, 4-H.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Van Sloten, 4-H educator. And before I start, I just would like to ask if any of you have any background in 4-H. but I can talk a while. 4-H began in 1902 in Ohio, and it has its roots in agriculture. The universities were coming out with new studies and new ways to plant, to grow. Farmers were very resistant into trying new things, and so the universities decided to target the youth. They figured the youth could either persuade their families into doing things a different way, or they eventually would do things differently themselves. So while 4-H has its, like I said, background in agriculture, one of the common misconceptions is that you have to be on a farm or you have to live in the county in order to participate in 4-H. Just a little side note, our oldest community club in Kenosha County is the Bristol Challenge, and they were founded in 1919. So we got into Wisconsin fairly quickly. So 4-H is the nation's largest positive youth development organization, and we focus on 3 things. The biggest one is to let kids find their sparks. We call them sparks, but their interests and what they want to try. And in Kenosha, we do still have agriculture projects in their projects. We have 7 or 8 animal projects, but we also have photography, archery, sewing, cooking, fishing, rocketry. So lots of things that the kids can try. So we have 8 community clubs, and then we have 20 community projects, which were some of the things I was just talking about there. We also focus on leadership skills and community service. So those are 3 big areas. So right now I'm working with about 625 youth. We have about 120 volunteers. And I'm the only one that gets paid to do 4-H. So it's an incredible testimony to our adult volunteers that this program has lasted, since in Kenosha County since 1919. We can always use more. So I always like to give that invitation open to all of you if you would like to volunteer 4-H or find out more about it, to let me know. So we are mostly west of the interstate. We do have 1 club in Kenosha that meets at the previous Stoker School. I believe it's the Kenosha School of Language now. So we do have that club in our city. And so our constant goal throughout the state, you can hear when we talk to educators, is to get 4-H into the city or the urban areas. So my plan of work is to increase collaboration with schools. I've got a couple ins so far, perhaps to be able to do that, to start an in-school or an after-school club. And we're also finding that it's nice to see all of you here tonight. We are focusing more on that middle school into high school, because we like to make leaders like you. And so if we start them a little younger, that works better. This year, we're going to focus on junior and senior high leadership by holding a youth leadership summit. The last couple of years, we have hosted a volunteer summit focusing on our adult volunteers and motivating them. But this year, like I said, we want to focus on youth leadership. Last year, I don't know if any of you heard about it or knew, but we did start something called the Kenosha County Festival of Trees. And that was hosted here. All of our clubs and projects decorated trees and planned events for families in the community. And we had over 400 people come to our event. Hopefully that'll get a little bigger, better. We'll see. Maybe it was big enough. I'm not sure. But we do plan to try that again this year. We just recently hosted an art show. I was hoping you could see it, but most of it we've taken down already. That was for the 4-H families, but it was also their neighbors, their grandmas, grandpas. It was for all age groups. And so we'd like to increase participation in that later this year too, and then continue our community service projects, keeping some of the old ones and trying new ones as well.
You'll also engage us in positive youth development education. Camille.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again, speaking with you all. So I am a positive youth development educator in Kenosha County. And as Carolyn kind of gestured towards, our institute has like 3 priority areas. One is youth empowerment and leadership. So that's my primary signature priority area in Kenosha County. And we have 2 established youth empowerment and leadership programs in Kenosha County. One is youth and governance, as you guys are a little familiar with by now. We have some wonderful representatives here tonight joining us. And then the second one is youth as resources, the Youth as Resources Board. And that's comprised of 9 youth and 3 adults. And they serve together to promote grant opportunities to other young leaders in our community for them to do community service projects. So they award up to $500 for youth community service project ideas. We actually have a YAR grant recipient in the room, Sam Sheen. He worked on a really cool project last year. So it's really great to see youth get involved in the community in different ways and different components. Our youth and governance leaders this year received a YAR grant. Yeah, like I said, it's just cool to see. Another major part I participated in for 2025 was the Youth as Partners in Civic Leadership, YPCL conference. I was one of the main conference presenters where I led the action planning component, and I was also a local contact to help recruit youth to attend YPCL. So this is focused on empowering youth in civic engagement and leadership. So I brought 7 youth from Kenosha. 1 youth was from Youth as Resources, and the other 5 come from Bradford High School. They have leadership roles in the school group that I work with at Bradford. So yeah, that's something I plan on working on this upcoming year, is helping support more youth attending YPCL, because I think it was a really great way to kind of kick off the year. They get to come up with an action plan that they would like to bring back at the local level and implement. And then many great things come from that, whether it's like personal leadership development, learning how to work as a team, and just making a positive difference in Kenosha County. So that's one of my goals for this year. Actually, I also work closely sometimes with Racine County Youth and Governance members, and those youth members were like, Camille, you have to bring Kenosha County YIG next year. So they just thought it was a really great opportunity. So I'm hoping to extend that chance to Kenosha County youth. Yeah, and I can tell you a little bit about the pictures here. So as you guys were there that night, Tim and Faye and Ethan were presenting on their service project. So that aligns with some of the outcomes that the Institute has identified as good and are meaningful, which is youth identifying and exploring community issues. You can see right below that they packed the hygiene kits actually on Monday. So they sent them off to the Shalom Center. So the Shalom Center received the kits. We had about 75 full kits, and then 140 total partial and full kits. So that was really cool. And then you can see down below that they had a whole group of youth leaders helping them out. So that was really great to see Tim and Ethan learning how to develop like navigating differences, critical thinking, consensus building. They took input from other youth volunteers there that night, but they also were the leaders and directed people and delegated. So that was really awesome to see, because I know many youth have communicated to me that they would like to meet youth from across the county, but also to make meaningful connections with them. So this was a really great opportunity to invite youth leaders in. To get to know one another. And then on the right side of the pictures, the middle one there is my Youth as Resources volunteer. So they're obligated to do 2 community service projects a year. And normally they just kind of join like an existing event. But this year they're like, no, we want to plan our own service project, just like how we ask our grant applicants. So that was really cool to see. And they decided to organize a park cleanup. So they contacted the Kenosha City Parks, picked up the trash bags, recruited other volunteers. So that was really cool to see. And then down below, that's one of the events they were at, the Helping Hands event in Bristol, or right by Westosha. Salem. Okay, over there, it's close by. So yeah, so that was, a really cool event that they participated in as well. And then, yeah, down below is, the youth who went to the 2025 YPCL event, and they had really positive things to say. Some of the youth had never been camping before or like really out in the woods. So not only do they get to learn like youth leadership skills and connect with other leaders from across Wisconsin, they also get to, you know, engage in some activities they normally wouldn't, like hiking, archery, making s'mores, you know, so that was really cool to see as well. And then my secondary priority signature area is college and career readiness. So I actually did dedicate a large portion of my time to college and career programming. Kenosha County is part of a 4-county grant in Wisconsin called NIA, and the NIA grant really emphasizes giving opportunities to youth who are underserved or maybe first generation to careers and college, like post-secondary pathways that might not readily be available to them in their school systems or day-to-day life. So myself, I'm a first generation college student, so I'm super passionate about giving back to my community in that sense. So like this past year, Kenosha, Racine, Waukesha, and Milwaukee all attended a career exploration day at MATC, where they got to explore biotechnology, robotics, photography, and the culinary arts. So not just, you know, showing youth the cool schools like UW-Madison, but also introducing them to like technical programs or other opportunities. So I hope to do another event like that this upcoming year. I will say the grant ends in August, so we're figuring out how to do that transition for 2026, 2027. And then another program I oversee is Juntos. We did a few college tours with that, but I'm hoping to do more in-school programming more regularly so that youth can explore different type of careers and also meet people from these institutions. This last month, actually, they also got to go to the Berger Botanical Gardens and speak with a horticulturist, and that was a really great day too. We worked with middle schools, so also branching more into the middle school youth, because it's really great to start them younger, because it's harder to maintain that interest if they're not pre-exposed prior to high school. So yeah, that's my plan of work. Thank you.
And we'll finish with Jill.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Hers. I'm the Foodwise Administrator for Kenosha and Racine counties, as well as Milwaukee and Waukesha counties. Some changes for Foodwise over the last year. So we are now 100% funded by AFNAP, which stands for Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program. It's a federal grant. We were formerly funded by SNAP-Ed and AFNAP. SNAP-Ed was entirely eliminated on a federal level, so we are 100% funded by the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program now. It does change our outreach slightly because of the target audience for the AFNAP program. So real focus of AFNAP is parents and caregivers, as well as older youth, so middle school and teens. So the focus of AFNAP program is to help youth and families with limited resources make lasting changes to support healthy eating and active living. So we teach lots of food prep programs. Our programs for parents and caregivers there, Eating Smart and Being Active, Around the Table, Nourishing Families. Those are both very heavy with physical activity and food prep. Around the Table is a little different in that it has a slightly more mindfulness incorporated into it, mindful eating. And then Walk with Foodwise is a brand new one that we're just trying out this year. We haven't done it yet in Kenosha County, but we started trying it out in Milwaukee County, and I'm excited to do it in our other counties as well. It's kind of a progressive walking program where people walk together as a group more and more. So it's like sort of a social program too, where so far we've tried it out in schools where parents and teachers who are kind of in the school building can walk together in this sort of social time, but then they also have some time together for the nutrition lesson as well, and they do some food prep. So a little bit different, but it's more of a physical activity focused program. These are longer series, so you know, formerly with SNAP-Ed, we could teach preschoolers all the way through senior citizens, one lesson through, you know, 12 lessons. FNF is very specific to having series of 6 to 12. The long one is the 12 lessons, this Walk with Foodwise. It's usually 6 to 9 lessons for all audiences, whether it be parents or youth. These are research-based curricula. It's federal, so what we're doing is similar to what other states are doing. They have their own delivery models. There's some slight differences, but we go with research-based delivery models and research-based curricula and evaluations that are federal too. So they're all through that expanded food and nutrition education program. We teach in English and Spanish. Both of our educators in Kenosha and Racine counties are bilingual. We've been focusing more on, as I say, the parents and then middle school and teens. We've taught teen cuisine for a long time, which is sort of a food prep and nutrition program. We focus on the food groups, but then they get to try out a recipe at each lesson. We usually work with schools for that, but we've done other youth groups and after school programs and things like that. Small Bites is a pretty new curriculum. That's for middle school. We have not tried that one out yet, but it's a brand new curriculum, so I'm a little excited to do that one. But teen cuisine has been a long-standing curriculum that we can teach with middle and high school age students. And then our elementary age youth, we teach specific audiences that we have research-based curriculum for. So for now, that's first grade, second grade, fifth grade, and then third through fifth grades for after school and summer programs. So the after school and summer programs are that Kids in the Kitchen and She's Health Fun, Food and Fitness. And then Show Me Nutrition is a little more classroom based, and it's easier for us to do in a classroom because we do small food samples. So we'll do sort of a, you know, we'll talk about whole grains and then they try whole grain during the lesson. The Kids in the Kitchen is a little bit more hands-on food prep that's appropriate for kids at that age. We also talk about food safety for parents and caregivers. We talk about budgeting as well. Food budgeting is a big part of especially that Eating Smart, Being Active curriculum. And so our focus over the next year is really going to be trying to get more parents and caregivers and middle school and teenage programs. One challenge we have, well, it's both good and bad. One thing is that, you know, some of our previous SNAP-Ed audiences we could still do with our FNAP funding, which is great because we had established relationships with schools and teachers that really liked us being in those classrooms. But then that has made our youth outreach and the FNAP side go way up, and they really like us to see, or they really like to see on the federal level more adults and more older youth. So that's really going to be our focus over the next year.
Thank you. I don't know if there's any additional questions we can answer either for youth representatives or supervisors.
Can we get a copy of the slides? Because my brain can hold so much. And there's a lot there, yeah.
Definitely.
Really, really good stuff.
And I'll also give you just that way. And this is our annual report for 2025. And I want to stress that these are highlights. Now, limited space. So we picked highlights of our different programs. You'll learn more about the Wisconsin Idea what extension is, some numbers. And at the back is our contact information. So feel free to reach out to us regarding any of the information, either in the report that you heard about the plan of works, which is general,
Right.
Well, this is the highlights. Some of that will be in here, but this is what their focus is. It's future, like some of it is ongoing, and then this is their, what they consider their highlights accomplishments for 2025. That's the difference.
And yes, I will get you this knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, tonight's presentation will also be attached to the internet, when it gets uploaded.
Oh, right, let's click on the link, then that would fine, I'll be able to get that done.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay, so then we're on
Back on our, entertain, motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Second you, second by Supervisor Lux. Any discussion, corrections, comments? Hearing none, you can governance. You vote for approval of the minutes. Aye. Supervisors, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Well, the minutes are approved. Citizen comments. So we're gonna have to change places, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Let's see how many. Before we start, just a curious, is everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people all wishing to speak or?
I know, I think just the two of us.
One? No, just those two. No, okay, good. Thank you. Please share your name and address.
Sure. My name is Jenny Morehouse. I live at 37290 52nd Street. I know two of you. We've spoken on the phone, Mr. Craig. I'm a resident of the town of Wheatland in Kenosha County. I'm speaking here tonight in support of the moratorium for battery storage systems in Kenosha County and to continue to add more detail around Robin Energy's quest to bring a BESS system to our small town. Robin Energy brought the most recent BESS proposal to our town last year. Residents attended their information session at the firehouse. We listened to the explanation of how if the wind continues to blow just right, there will be no impact to the surrounding area of dangerous chemicals and materials in the event of a disaster. Their own engineering expert suggested he could not tell us what impact a disaster would cause, as that research was ongoing. Given all the risks and learned facts, our town came out strongly against having a BESS installed in our community. In January, our zoning board voted against the rezone of the intended land. Robin responded by withdrawing their application and sent a letter stating they would continue to pursue the project despite our forceful rejection. Since January, we have become educated in battery storage. We have worked tirelessly within our town of Wheatland, as well as with our county and state leaders. Our rejection of a BESS system remains the same. The town of Wheatland is not an appropriate location for this type of project. We are a rural community with farmland, homes, and wells, and a school very near the originally proposed site. An industrial park does not fit against this backdrop. I'm asking all of you to continue learning about standalone battery energy storage systems. Learn as much as you can about the risks associated with thermal runaway fires. Please stand with us in support of the BESS moratorium in Kenosha County. Your support will allow those around us to continue their work in supporting our small rural farming community in the town of Wheatland. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Kathy Danko. I live on 3403 392nd Avenue in Wheatland, basically. I would also like to thank everybody that has been working hard on obtaining our moratorium on the proposed battery storage facility in Wheatland. Our family is one of the 3 families that has been involved in the Dyer Lake gravel pit in Wheatland Township that started roughly 30 years ago. We all signed on with a trusted local company that was prominent in the community, but over time, the contract for the gravel pit was sold out many times over to foreign entities. Yes, we did have a local middleman running the company, but they were constantly under pressure to produce the numbers that the corporate offices wanted. Any decision-making was long and tedious since all the corporate offices were overseas. The people making the decisions for the project had never even been on the site. Even though we had a contract, many other things that were originally promised were never followed through with. Bonds of financial responsibility that were set years ago were no longer set years ago were no longer near today's value of the reclamation. And even if stipulations were in writing, could not be enforced in the end without a costly legal battle. Big money hires top gun attorneys that what looks like easy money for the landowner can be very costly in the end. We had quite the challenge to reclaim our land after almost 20 years of previous companies not following through. We now have a local company doing a great job working with all the families involved to carry through with the reclamation. I worked hard and was fortunate enough to find our current operator with an excellent reputation to come in, but sometimes that isn't always the case. My point in telling you this is Robbins Energy can promise us the moon and the stars, but at the meeting 2 weeks ago, their presentation was pathetic. A fourth grader at a science fair could have gave a more informative, well-structured presentation. The speech was hard. The truth was hard to find. They wouldn't even present their names and their position in the company at the beginning. And I can guarantee you from the sarcastic answers to our questions and their eye rolling, they will never follow through. They will never take pride and passion in our community. They will not be responsible for their actions, and we will simply be a number and a project for them to produce profit. They cannot guarantee any safety concerns, no guarantees that there will not be contamination. They frequently stumbled and backtracked. There's no proven track record of these plants over the last 10 to 20 years because it's relatively something new. So without long-term data, they didn't have a leg to stand on. And then as a parting gift, they announced the third expansion of the project to all 52 acres and 240 batteries. They started out with like 12 acres, 20 acres. Now it's all 52 acres, which we knew because we saw the neighboring farms' paperwork. We can debate all the facts and figures and statistics and contamination all day long. We all know none of these projects are healthy for our environment. I'm not here to talk about that. My point is Wheatland Township does not want this project. It will hinder the growth of new businesses that will bring jobs and life to our community. The area where the project is proposed is densely populated, one of our best areas to attract new businesses with highway frontage and a group of already well-established businesses on that corner. I think Kenosha County has come to a turning point. We need a vision of the future to merge old and new. We need responsible, well-planned growth. We are still an agricultural-based county, but we're losing that balance quickly. We need the foresight to have progress, but not destroy our integrity and what people love the most about living in rural Kenosha County. Thousands of acres of solar farms, battery plants, natural gas plants, data centers are not going to increase anybody's property values or quality of life. And even with more planned, where will all this madness end? Our small committee of dedicated volunteers will do anything to work with you to try to defeat this project in our township. Sorry, but we don't want to be the next Paris. We have gained much knowledge. We are willing to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work. Obviously, the Public Service Commission is out of control. How can the hardworking taxpayers, the backbone of the community, be overruled by the PSC? It's a huge mountain to tackle, but we will not stop. We would like to know how the board plans to proceed and what the exact strategy is to defend Wheatland. So thank you again. We all have to band together to beat this and hopefully set a precedence for other communities around the country that it can be done. We have a lot of information. The three of us here have worked diligently since January. None of us wanted. The company's not a reputable company. I could take you, any of you, to the site, walk you around, show you a number of problems from drainage that they say don't exist. I mean, Wayne brought us that it's actually tiled under Highway 50. It runs right into, from two different tiles into the New Munster Creek that eventually end up into the Fox River. We have lakes. We have a lake on our farm. In the reclamation of the gravel pit, they're putting 2 more lakes. All of our wetlands are right onto the neighboring farm, so all the runoff will run through Lininger's farm into our farm, which will eventually feed the lakes that we're putting into the gravel pit in Dyer Lake, where there's a Boy Scout camp. There's schools close. There's the historic town of Wheatland. I mean, Wheatland School is probably only a mile from the site. They're having terrible problems in Paris with the alarms constantly going off now. And the battery plant, it's just not the right location to put it. And our small township fire department couldn't even on a day in January, or maybe it was like February, we had grass fires. They were overwhelmed that day by grass fires and only had 2 people left in the station and 1, truck, right? So what happens, we have to take 3 miles of our community and evacuate it because there is really seriously a problem there. Who's going to do it? We don't have the manpower. I mean, one of these recently exploded in Poland. They buried it under stand and it's still burnt. It's just not the community where we're putting it. It's just not the right spot in our community. So we would really hope to work with you in any way, shape, or form. I know the Public Service Commission is a bear to try to fight, but we hope that you're committed in doing that. And from working with foreign entities in the past, I can tell you that they can promise you everything. And Robbins Energy was so disrespectful. It was just a pathetic presentation. They were confrontational. And then even afterwards, they said that they will take it to the Public Service Commission in one of the TV interviews. So we really have to be prepared for that. But we will wreck our township and our way of life for many people. I didn't fight so hard over the last couple of years to get our farm reclaimed after the damage that was done with the gravel pit to now have it wrecked by a battery plant and possible contamination from that.
Thank you.
Right, with that, then we can move on to item number 17, which is chairman, committee members, supervisors, getting staff comments.
Sure, we'll go around the table. I mentioned earlier that I did read the ordinance. There's a lot of work ahead of us. We take that responsibility seriously.
What do you take? I'm sorry.
The provisions of the ordinance, the research that has to take place.
We're willing to help you. We are
Understood. Yeah.
we're willing. I mean, we've done a lot of research. And I've been to a lot of the data center meetings in Beloit and, Deansville.
Yeah, so this is just time for them to comment.
Okay.
Thanks. I think that's all I have regarding that. I'm appreciative of what I learned here on the extension. I want to circle back with you. I think there's a lot of opportunities that overlap into other areas, and I think we should explore some of those.
Sounds good.
That'll be helpful.
Appreciate that.
And Cam, I'll be following up with you as well,
Great.
about some of the curriculum.
Wonderful.
Sarah? Comments?
I think you covered everything fairly well. I was very impressed by the presentation. I appreciate hearing from everybody about battery energy storage and their concerns. I think it's, like you said, Supervisor Gray, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
I honestly, I have to agree. We do have a lot of work ahead of us. I liked presentations. I definitely will also be following up with battery storage. I have to be doing my research with that. So,
Can I ask a good question? Did they?
This is just time for them right now.
that's about it for me.
Thank you. Youth and governance?
I really like the presentations, particularly the horticulture and, what one was, Miss Ann on and
Diversified vegetable and emerging crops.
I like that one, particularly because, we talked about like a service project and perhaps a garden or something, community garden, but also personal interest. I have my own garden and bees, and I like bees. But, yeah, also with I have a lot of knowledge on like AI centers and our conversation yesterday of like kind of the separation between like AI centers and battery storage. I still need to do some research on it, but I understand like concerns and stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the presentation as well. I thought it was really cool. I got to see how, I was confused kind of with the education expansion part of this committee. And that was kind of cool to see like what it is. And it was very eye-opening of how many opportunities there really are out there. So.
No comments from. Okay, great. Then just from staff, so we have a meeting next month. There is one item. I will not be at that meeting, so we'll have another staff person, Luke, that'll sit in on it. It's a conditional use permit. And it's possible that these two tabled items might go, but it'll be pretty simple and short with that. And I think that's all that I have right now.
Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Supervisor Lutz,
Second.
second by Supervisor Colonna. Youth and Governments, would you like to get out of here?
Aye.
Supervisors? Aye?
Hi.
Aye.
I was like,
Okay,
I
motion carries. Thank you.